Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the International Student Guide podcast, a podcast created to guide international students in their journey to the Netherlands and the University of Twente. My name is Luigi, and I'm going to be your host. And today I'm joined by two UT students. So, Diana and Wisang, can you introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Diana and I'm an international student from Bulgaria. I recently graduated from my master's in educational science and technology at the University of Twente.
Hi, my name is Wisang. I'm an international student from Indonesia. I'm currently studying here at the University of Twente, and I'm in my third year of mechanical engineering bachelor's.
Thank you very much and welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
So today's episode is a question that a lot of international students ask themselves when they start their journey, and it's why study in the Netherlands? So I'm going to start by asking you, why did you decide to study in the Netherlands?
Shall I start?
Of course.
Well, I think I was first introduced to the Netherlands by a family friend. She's been living here for basically her entire adult life. She did her university studies here at the UT as well. So I kind of knew about the University of Twente before. But I was really exposed to it by reading up on on a random research paper by this one professor, Bram Nauta, who was an electrical engineer. And I was reading it for school. So that's when I really started to think about, maybe I should go to the Netherlands. And lo and behold, here I am now.
How about you, Diana?
My journey was completely different. I knew I wanted to study abroad, but I didn't know if I wanted to study in the Netherlands or any other country in the world. I chose the Netherlands because of education in English, and I wanted some change. I wanted to be far away from Bulgaria for a while.
I mean, I think I can also relate.
Yeah.
And then in your case, for example, you were, the whole world was open to you. So what made you decide for the Netherlands?
So I had a few options, the Netherlands, Denmark and Scotland. Why I decided to stop myself on the Netherlands was first because of the affordable tuition fees, high quality education. I was aware that the Netherlands is in Western Europe, and I'm going to have a diploma with good reputation, good quality, and it will be recognized all over the world.
And then you both came to the conclusion that you wanted to study in the Netherlands.
Yes.
But then how did you arrive at the UT? How did you decide on the UT?
Well, for me, like I said before, I had already been exposed to the UT in some way or form. But what really, attracted me here was because of the fact that mechanical engineering specifically was in English, as opposed to Delft. It's in Dutch, and Eindhoven, they have a numerous fixes. And so I thought, why not just study and, cruise along with University of Twente.
So you started your bachelor's?
Yes, I started my bachelor's here.
Okay. I started my master's at the UT. I first studied in another university in the Netherlands for my bachelor's. And then once I started searching for options for what I was interested in, I really liked the University of Twente, first because of its campus. And second, because my study had a part-time option, and that allowed me to work on the side.
That's good. And now that you arrived in the Netherlands, so you went through all that thought process, and then you ended up in the Netherlands at the University of Twente. What was your first impression when you got here?
To campus?
To campus, yeah.
Well, my first thought, I think, was that, wow, it's big and it's beautiful, because I've seen a lot of the promotional images online and on the banners that you guys promote to schools and whatever. And a lot of it shows that the UT campus is very green, very park-like. And the pictures don't lie. And I was really impressed, and I was really taken aback by the quality of the buildings and the quality of the campus. So I was amazed. How about you?
Same. I think once I came into the campus, I was like, whoa, it's luxurious. It looks amazing. The facilities are incredible. I never even thought that you can have a 3D printer on campus and just create whatever you want. And you can rent some cameras and microphones. You can design stuff. Yeah, that's what impressed me. And I am a huge fan of nature, and having being on campus with in the nature and having my walks during lunchtime is definitely a plus.
I think I remember the University of Twente campus being described as a little village. And I think the UT campus right now, to me, feels exactly like a little village where all students converge, like student life, teacher life, and, staff life as well. It's something special to me.
And both of you mentioned the green and the nature. And you mentioned you liked the nature. Do you think, what benefits do you find in that? Do you think it has some sort of impact on you?
Mental health, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I like going on long walks, and it helps that I can, bike or walk throughout the campus. And there are trees around me, there are birds around me. It's really nice.
Yeah, and I really like the campus and the social bubble within the campus.
Exactly.
You have so many international students, and everyone's walking, biking, talking. It's just such a friendly atmosphere.
It's so inherently Dutch, but it's like so familiar right now.
That's because you've been here for a while now.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from you is that it is so you still feel like you're in a very close community, and even though you're away from home and it's a very Dutch environment, it still feels very multicultural and very...
For sure.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, good. That's very nice to hear. But I do have a question for you both. How does your education or the educational system that you're following now compares to the one at home? So what did you have to get used to when you got here?
Good question.
You want to start?
Yeah. So first, higher education in Bulgaria is very traditional. It's teacher-oriented. I don't like that. Students are just passive listeners. They need to have a notebook and a pen, write down their lecture notes, and that's it. You don't have an active conversation with teachers. Dialogue was the word that I was searching for. And what I really like here is that you're close with your teachers. You get to know them better. Than you see them not only as a teacher but also as a role model. A lot of them have industry experience, have been researchers for a while. They share their personal experience with you. I really appreciate that because I get to talk to someone with 10 years of experience in class.
How about you?
Yes. Well, in Indonesia, like Diana said, it's very traditional in the sense that the teachers are sort of like your higher ups, your bosses, and the students are more, not exactly employees, but they're basically under the teachers, and there's like a hierarchy.
Hierarchy, yeah.
Yeah, and in the Netherlands, I really appreciated that didn't really exist because I could call teachers by the first name. I could just go to their office hours and knock on their door and just strike up a conversation or ask a question about a problem. And in Indonesia, while you can do those things, it's you really have to tread lightly around the professors because they can make or break your education, even if you just say a wrong word or something like that. And here, I didn't really have to think twice about speaking my mind. Well, of course, being respectful about it.
Yeah.
I also liked that the education, especially here and in most universities, put a lot of emphasis on you and yourself. So you're not you're not really obligated to do anything, but to succeed in university, you have to make those choices yourself.
Yeah, I also like that the independence that students are given to learn on their own.
Yes.
I guess all of those things sound very positive, and it's very good to hear that that has been your experience. But then my question would be, how do you get used to those changes? Because even though they're good things and they're things that you enjoy and that now you look back and you say, I really appreciate this, there's also a period of getting used to those things. How was it for you, Diana?
I think within the first week, you already need to get used to the dynamics of the Dutch educational system because I I like that though. You're thrown into the deep. You need to learn to be an adult. You start studying from week one. You need to learn to manage your time. You need to learn how to balance your studies with your personal life. Yeah, I think once I started, you just go with the flow. You learn from your own mistakes and you keep going.
Well, for me, specifically for mechanical engineering, we had an exam on the second week already. And I think all of us in my cohorts were sort of forced to grow up very quickly, mature very quickly, because otherwise we'd fail the exam. Luckily, that didn't happen. And yeah, I'm kind of thankful that the learning environment sort of forced me to grow up and realize that my decisions matter now, and I have to do things myself now.
Yeah, I think also as an international student, you don't just grow within your study, but just in general in life, because you have to be responsible.
Exactly.
You have to cook after your study. you have to do your laundry in between the exams. Yeah, you learn to be an adult in one way or another.
That's true.
And you, both of you are very active students. You had a very active student life here at the university. How did you manage? How did you get used to the new environment and learn to manage your time accordingly?
That's a very good question, and I still struggle with it.
Well, should I start?
You go.
Okay.
You go.
Well, in Indonesia, a lot of universities, across the world rather, put a lot of emphasis on your grades and how you should be getting the highest grades and whatnot. And here, obviously, you want to get good grades, but the university also wants you to have a life outside of university, right? Because it's important for mental health and it's important for staying healthy and just being yourself. So while I do, of course, care about my grades a lot, I didn't let that detract me from wanting to make friends outside of my study, and that's why I became an active student. I also wanted to experience new things. Obviously, I'm sure you can relate, right? Mm-hmm. And I think just settling into that routine of like studying and then taking a break, hanging out with some friends, going to lunch with some friends, going to dinner with another group of friends, and then weekends for myself or with other friends. I think I settled into that rhythm quite nicely. And right now, I think my student life is as good as it can be.
Mm. For me, I was a complete nerd during my bachelor's. The only thing I did was study so that I get high grades. So I decided to get out of my comfort zone during my master's and do everything possible aside my studies. So what I really like is that the university supports the more than just a degree mindset. So yes. I decided 1 year I'm going to do salsa and bachata and ballroom dancing. The other year I'm going to do some workout classes. The next year I'm going to be part of a student association. So I tried from everything. Yeah. I did a language course. I joined some activities for international students, event coordination and planning, and just everything that I can learn as an extracurricular activity.
Cool.
That sounds very interesting from both of you, and I believe from what I'm hearing from you that those extracurriculars are also adding to your experience for when you are in the labor market, because you just mentioned, for example, event organization, but in general also being able to organize and manage your time accordingly. So that sounds very, very interesting.
You really use every single hour of the day, that's for sure.
Oh, yes. And you enjoy it. I don't know how to say it. You do enjoy
At the end of the day, you just feel fulfilled because you haven't just studied. You've done so much more: networking, making friends, you learning new skills.
And in that sense, and also building on what we just said, what would you say the UT has added so far to your life in general, other than, of course, your titles?
Experiences, memories, definitely. Friends.
I think of this place as my second home, maybe my first home right now. And I think that is because of the way the UT sort of forced us, at least in my cohort, to become a sort of melting pot for not only international students but Dutch students as well, to create memories, to experience things together, to go through your bachelor's. Right now, my bachelor's together. So I'm at the same time grateful and also really, really happy that I got to experience these things at the UT.
Yeah, for me it was because I did my master's. I was surrounded by a bunch of adults already who immediately after the studies went all over the world. So now I have connections with different countries and we stay in touch on social media, even though we aren't living together in the same country anymore. But yeah, for me it's just the experiences outside the study that are the most valuable ones.
Exactly.
And what has been your experience with studying with people from all over the world? Because of course you come from studying in your home countries with people with the same mindset in the same countries, etc. But then you're encountered with a lot of different people. You're studying with a Dutch person, a German person, a Bulgarian person, but also someone from Indonesia, Latin America. How was your experience with that?
I absolutely love it. I'm so passionate about learning in an intercultural environment, working in an intercultural environment. It's crazy how much you can learn from people from other countries, and not necessarily anything related to your studies, but just in general, how they function, what their traditions are, why they communicate in a certain way. It's so interesting to work with people from all over the world.
Well, for me, I have a very international friend group, both Dutch and international. And it's just really interesting to see how everyone studies their own way. Like one of my friends, he always looks at the answers, and everyone else around him tells him not to look at the answers because like you're not going to study that way, right? But it's just really interesting to see how study habits are formed by the culture you grew up in.
Yeah. Wisang, is there something you wish you knew before coming to the Netherlands or to the University of Twente?
Something I wish I knew. Maybe that perhaps that the food wasn't that great. Well, it's not terrible, of course. There are good restaurants, and I do like Dutch food. I always have a sandwich.
With cheese.
With cheese, exactly. But yeah, it's mainly minor things like that. Definitely that I should not have underestimated the weather, because I was not coming from a tropical country. I wasn't used to having to constantly think about what to wear and whether or not I should bring a change of clothes or a different kind of jacket. But nothing too major like that. What about you?
For me, it was communication, because I come from a country where we emphasize on indirect communication. You can't just say to someone straight in the face what you actually mean. You beat around the bush. And I learned how important it is to say what's on your mind. It doesn't matter if it's your manager, your teacher, whoever you talk to. You need to be honest and direct, and being in a Dutch environment allows you to do that.
Yeah.
Good. And you mentioned food. So I want to know what's each of your favorite Dutch plate or snack or...
Well, I am a sucker for frikandelbroodjes.
Oh, really?
Frikandelbroodjes.
I love
Okay.
frikandelbroodjes.
I like hagelslag, the little chocolate sprinkles that you put on bread. The thing is, I have no idea how Dutch people eat that for breakfast. I can eat 5 and still not be full.
I'm surprised that no one mentioned my all-time favorite, the oliebollen.
Oh really? Oh yeah, but they're offered in one season. You need to eat.
Yes, that's true.
You need to eat a lot.
It's a very
Maybe
Christmas
to
thing.
introduce them to international students if they don't know what that is. It's like
Yeah.
oily
Please?
balls for real.
It's a fried donut.
Yeah,
right?
it's a fried donut
Yeah.
with raisins, and they are sugar coated, and it's just comfort food for the winter.
It's delicious.
Amazing.
I love it.
I disagree.
Really?
They're not my favorites. I will eat them, but the ones with the raisins, no. Just
Really?
get that away from me.
I think you need to have a sweet tooth for them.
Yeah.
I do have a massive sweet tooth. I eat all the gummies that like everyone gives to me, but not oliebollen.
I think you both already expressed that you feel welcome. You feel at home. What makes you feel at home here in the Netherlands and at the University of Twente?
For me, it's the openness of people around me, the environment that I created for myself and was created for me by the university. And just honestly, the ability to talk to a person on the street, something that was a cultural shock to me, but in a positive way, was the fact that people on the street just say hi without knowing you and just smile at you for not knowing you. Coming from a Balkan country where everyone's grumpy, this was such a precious experience for me.
How about you, Wisang?
Well, for me, what makes a home is not the place, but the people. But the place is also really, really nice as well. I think the concept of struggling together, I'd never really understood it before university, but I think the University of Twente has sort of made me realize that struggling together makes bonds stronger. And I think I've managed to surround myself with a bunch of really, really good people and made amazing memories together. So that's what makes it home for me.
Nice. I hear a lot about the connections that you have made, and I guess it took some time, of course, to get to know people and all of those things. But being an international student, like when you just arrive at a new country, it can be a little bit lonely. So what tips do you have for international students to help them overcoming that loneliness period?
I think you sort of have to step out of your comfort zone for a bit, to either to get to know people or to experience new things. Friends don't just come in a snap, and they don't just appear out of nowhere, but their friendships are formed and forged through experiences and through shared memories. And I think if you really want to not be lonely, to have a social life in general, is you have to be active. You have to make an effort to look for friends.
And you're also part of an Indonesian community, right?
Oh, yes, of course. But the Indonesian community is one thing. That's like my diaspora from away from home. But I'm really talking about other international peoples.
So what tips do you have for international students to help them overcome that loneliness period?
Say yes to things that you're uncomfortable with. I think even if you're an introvert and you enjoy being alone, it's so important to meet other people, and you might end up meeting other introverts and you might just chill at home. You don't need to go to parties and go wild, but just surround yourself with new people, learn from them.
Or you could, meet an extrovert and they adopt you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's the thing. I'm the extrovert usually adopting others. And it's just so fun to see them getting out of their shell and being completely different people.
Nice. It's nice to hear that you're not only getting from the community, but you're also giving to the community. So that's really nice. So before we close today's episode, I have a question for both of you. And it is, if you could go back, would you choose the Netherlands and the University of Twente again, and why?
Is this question with the knowledge that we already know now, or is it to wipe
if we
your
didn't
mind?
know anything
If
about
we don't
the
know
University
anything.
of Twente.
Yeah.
So which one is it?
I would say with the knowledge, with what you know
With
now,
what we know now.
would you choose
100%.
the Netherlands and the University of Twente again, and
100%. I think the University of Twente for mechanical engineering specifically offers a nice specialization, a nice range of freedom for what you want to do. And that's good for me academically because I sort of have a path to what I want to do for the rest of my life. But regarding Enschede and the social life aspect of it, I would 100% say yes to it because I think you can agree with me that Enschede is a pretty quiet city, and it does get boring especially if you're after the honeymoon period of your study sort of wanes off.
Yeah.
But once you get started with the friendships and once you get started with the busy work life, it's really, really nice to live in.
It's actually nice to be in the countryside and enjoy your little walks and runs in peace and quiet. Yeah, outside your study. Yeah, I think I would choose the University of Twente for sure. If University of Twente could be in a sunnier country, though, I would love to do that. But I have absolutely no regrets. I just learned so much. I grew up here, basically. My whole adulthood, conscious adulthood, was here. Yeah, when I made decisions on my own. Learn to be independent, learn to analyze, reflect. Yeah, it's just such an amazing experience, and I would always look back with a smile on my face.
Exactly.
That's very good to hear. It's very good to hear that you have had such good experiences, and that the university has added so much to your personal and professional development. So thank you very much to both of you for being here. It's been a pleasure to have this conversation with you both, and so very, very nice having you here. And thank you all for joining today's episode. It's been a pleasure for us talking to you today, and we hope to see you in the next episodes.